Mic check, 1 2 1 2. My name is Georgette.
Yeah, we back, Georgette. Another good one for
I know. This is Black and Nuanced Podcast, dispelling the ideas that all black people are monoliths because we're not. We bring our varying perspectives to pop culture, relationships, and things we go through that we can't always name. Welcome to Black and Nuanced. So, Snap, I went to Dallas this past weekend. I really needed to unplug. You and I had offline conversations on part of the reason why I need to unplug. Doesn't need to be named here, but just needed, like, I feel like, so my 90 days has hit this week. Like, I've been in Miami, proper Miami area, Hollywood, Florida, for my new gig. 3 months.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's been 3 months.
That's what I'm talking about. Happy 3-month anniversary.
Oh, thank you. But
about.
it's been bittersweet. It's been bittersweet because new city, financial challenges, income looks a lot different than it did when I was living in New York. And I was just like, man, since I moved down here, Snap, because I had to move down here within a week and a half when I started 3 months ago, I just feel like I've been nonstop. And when I went to Dallas, all I prayed for, I was like, God, let me just, let this be a self-care weekend. Let me just enjoy myself. And sure enough, I wanted to go out, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to go out. But man, Snap, I went to this body pump class with my friend, and she swears by body pump, and I haven't worked out in a class in 2 years. Tore my ass up. Not when I was in the class, but when I left. I couldn't sit straight. There was pain in my thighs and my arms, and there's still pain. And I literally... We went out to eat or whatever, and I was walking real funny because like I'm just cramping really bad. My muscles hurt. So we take a nap after we eat, and I'm waking up, and my back is like, sit your ass right back down. So she had to rub some cream, like she had some Epsom salt cream and something else just to relieve back muscle pain, and she rubbed it on my back, and I just went right back to sleep. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't move like I wanted to move.
You're supposed to be getting out, resting and relaxing, hanging out.
Well, I guess that was the rest and relaxation because apparently my body was like, you're not going nowhere. And I was like, okay. But you know what? I still actually enjoy myself, Snap. I was okay. Like, this is what in our 30s looks like, right? Like, we don't have to be in somebody's club, shaking our ass. We don't have to do any of that. And so it was very funny. But it wasn't long enough, right? I couldn't take off Friday to miss my shift. So I literally flew out after my shift. And I only had half the day Friday, all of Saturday, half the day Sunday, and then I got back really late Sunday night, and then I was running on fumes Monday morning. So if y'all heard the mistakes, yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, it does. It does. And so that was my weekend. How was your weekend? Did you do anything?
It was good. I didn't really do anything. I'll tell you what I did do. Bought a new video game, I was going through some stuff, so I said, you know what, I'm investing some video game time.
So for your release.
Yeah.
That was your form of release.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it right there. But I put some hours in.
Code word, read between the lines. I'm not mad at that. So, Snap, this is episode 7. Let's get into it. So, stumbled across an article. And it was called, actually read the article, Snap, because my computer's acting up.
Netflix responds to claims that they changed the artwork of shows based on viewers' race.
Right. So the whole thing was they were calling it the dark side of marketing tactics. And what Netflix was being accused of, and I'm going to read it from the article, it's on NME.com. Some subscribers found that the promo images used for certain content may have been manipulated to reflect their ethnicity. Netflix promo shots, for example, one example that they used was Netflix's promo shots for 2004's Love Actually and the Kelsey Grammer starring Like Father, and they used those as examples as alleged advertising tactics. So, for example, Like Father stars Kelsey Grammer, who's white. But it showed 2 black actors on the poster, even though those 2 black actors had a aggregate total of 10 minutes, 10 cumulative minutes on the screen, and maybe 20 lines between them tops. But there was a movie with Zach. It says they noticed a movie with Zac Efron, but they might try to make it seem like it was. They kept showing Michael B. Jordan, making it seem like it was a Michael B. Jordan movie. And so Netflix has denied the claim, saying, "We don't ask members for race, gender, or ethnicity, so we cannot use this information to personalize their individual experience." They said the only information they use is a member's viewing history. Reports that we look at demographics when personalizing artwork are untrue. What are your thoughts? Do you think? I mean, do you think that they could have possibly been capable of doing something like that?
No, I agree with Netflix in this because we on both sides of this. Because again, this is a marketing genius tactic. I've been in marketing the last 20 years of my life, and this is something that I would have played. If I could play that card, I would. And I'll give you an example. Here we go. So yeah,
play which card?
The race card kind of.
Oh, like the people the subscribers that are accusing Netflix of this.
Yeah, because again, for the longest time, we felt like we've been excluded. Like black people, like when you see something advertised, you don't see black people in it. When you see blah blah blah, it's like, all right. So as an advertiser, if I'm a company and I'm trying to cater to a certain market, I'm gonna make that advertisement kind of cater to you and your likeness as much as I can, so that I can get the point across. And I do that with, like, when you go from city to city or state to state, you'll see, like, let's say a Kellogg's commercial or a Cheerios commercial that may include this ethnic group, but if you're living in the state of Florida, you're not going to see that same group being targeted for these marketing purposes. Like, I can remember there was like a Cheerio commercial, and what they were trying to do was touch base on like interracial couples and everything like that. And again, the media storm took over because, again, what it started off was a white woman with a mixed child, and her dad was in the next room laying on a couch. And she was talking to her mom about how heart healthy the cereal was. And she was like, you know what? Well, I'm going to go give dad this whole box. So she pretty much goes in the living room and pours the box on. But the whole shock was, wait a minute, this beautiful white woman, this mixed kid.
Oh, I think I remember that commercial. And it was a black father. They wanted to show an interracial couple. I think I remember, vaguely remember.
It's like, you got to take your chance at it, even though there's going to be flack back. But at the same thing, Netflix is just using a tool that says, I'm going to take your subscription and I just want to see what you watch. And for the most part, it's really easy. If there are more black shows that you view, I'm thinking you may be urban. But that's the issue the subscribers are taking issues with. Like, you're deceiving me because these two black people that you're showing in the promo images, they're barely in the movie. Absolutely. Right. But they are in the movie. So it's not lying. It is it's not deceiving you. It's just selling off of what may make you more interested because it has somebody you're familiar with.
Okay.
So that's all it is. It's just taking. All right. So if you go to, let's say, if you went to, I'm going to say California, I'm going to say Maine, you'll recognize Zac Efron and maybe not Michael B. Jordan, or maybe you'll recognize Michael B. Jordan from Black Panther now, but. Fruitvale Station. He was in Fruitvale Station, but that ain't getting no love.
But think about the communities that affected. That wouldn't affect.
And see, so this is what I'm saying. So,
I guess, but it's a gray heavy assumption, though.
But if you were showing Fruitvale Station in a white area predominantly, you might not show the black side of them, like in the train station. You might show the white cops, as an advertiser.
But what you're saying is contradictory because basically you're saying that they're saying it's untrue because they go off of viewer history, but you're saying that like you agree with them that they're not doing it, but technically you're saying that they possibly did do it.
It's a thin line between love and hate because again, I'm not asking you race, gender, creed. I'm not asking I know your age. But I'm just going off of strictly what you enjoy watching. So, in Netflix, when you subscribe to Netflix, do you have to give a year of age? I think so because you have to be at least 18.
That's minimum.
Okay, see? So, but again, that's just the age targeting thing. But, okay, so maybe there's a little bit. But at the end of the day, you see how they can get away with it, though, because they're not specifically asking if you're black or if you're gay or anything like that. But if you watch certain shows like Modern Family, then they may put you into something more sensitive. They may be like, well, hold up, who is in this? Like instead of showing, or if it's something Latin, they may show Sofia Vergara on the front of something totally when it's a Tyler Perry movie.
But see, let me tell you, like my mix of stuff on Netflix has been when Chelsea used to do her talk show. Chelsea Handler used to do her talk show.
Okay.
Jane the Virgin. Dave Chappelle, House of Cards. You don't know if I'm black, white, mixed, Hispanic. You just don't know what I am with those myriad selection of shows.
Right.
And I swore by Chelsea Handler's talk show. Oh, that was my show. But this is what I'm saying, Snap. So they're not going to admit to that because that could potentially be a lawsuit.
Absolutely.
Of course they're not going to admit to it. But I haven't experienced it yet. That's why I'm curious if you've experienced it. Let us know in the comments. But I haven't experienced that. And some of these shows, I was like, I don't know if I would even watch some of the stuff that they mentioned. But the point of the matter is, I guess, they started seeing a pattern. Like I said, I haven't noticed it, but I thought that was very interesting. I thought it was very interesting. I was like, come on, Netflix.
If you notice, the only information we use is a member's viewing history. One viewer that they use. It wasn't, this is not like a whole big, so
I should ask my homie that works at Netflix. I wonder if he'll tell me. I have a homie that works at Netflix.
But
shout out to my homie.
If I was trying to market to you, and I know that I was going in the area and I'm trying to do that, you market to who you want to sell.
But the thing is, you don't know. You don't know. And you can't just say viewing history is enough to call somebody's race out. That's all.
Right. It's not. But if in the past I know that you watched How High, you may be more so than less to watch. What was that movie with I'ma get it. Pineapple Express.
Oh, I didn't watch that. I haven't seen that.
See, so Pineapple Express maybe had one black dude a scene, but you wouldn't notice it though, something like that. But because it was pretty much based off of the two white dudes getting away from the white dude and his Spanish lover and things like that. But yeah, so again, if I know who I'm catering to, I am gonna definitely gear that way. So if I know that we're doing a Latino night, I might put a little mariachi band on the flyer or something like that, or have that feel, have that mariachi hat feel to it or something like that. And again, I'm not being racist. I just know that I just want this advertisement to kind of fit who you are.
Okay.
So that's it.
Let us know. They are being accused of deceiving black users with manipulative personalized posters, according to NME, which they do deny. But again, I think it's based off of if you personally experienced it. Like I said, I haven't, but I'm sometimes so exhausted. Snap, I could barely turn on my TV.
Yeah, I'd be like,
and I'll just jump straight to Golden Girls, Living Single.
Hey, see?
I know we are living. Hey,
single.
In a 90s kind of world. I'm glad I got my girl. Keep your head up. Okay, see? Yeah, Living Single. Okay, so that was our main squeeze, but I want to get into all of the things because I'm constantly going through all of the things. Snap, I'm always talking about this, but I wanted to talk about deciphering petty / short answer text message response, feeling like you've been blatantly ignored, just text message etiquette in general, right? So over the weekend, I always say this, Snap, I rage in my mind, right? So that helps me not to rage against the person that, in my mind, that I find at fault. So my friend is really big on, she doesn't play that when it comes to if she sends you a text message and you take a long time to respond, like she's not here for it. Absolutely not. Me, on the other hand, I start to think about, okay, maybe he's busy. Maybe they're doing this. They'll get back to me when they're busy. Because I also think about it when I used to travel a lot for work and I was going back and forth to LA. Snap, if you weren't in my purview and you weren't working with me on the project that I was working on in LA, I just couldn't respond. Like if it was just some like checking in response, like my responses were like 2 days, 3 days delayed because I would forget to reply to you because I'm working on something, right? So I was like, I try to take all that into consideration. But when I see a mofo on social media, and I just text your ass less than 30 minutes ago, and your post says posted 2 minutes ago, because social media will tell on you. I have a problem with that.
Yes, it will.
I do have a problem with that. Snap, I'm getting vibes that you may have done this before and you may still do this.
I do.
But why do you do that? So this is the first part of text message etiquette. I just understand. The first part of text message etiquette is if someone is texting you, you can make time to post on social media, but you can't make time to respond to my text. Especially if it's someone that you're cool with. Like, I'm not talking about the people that you're annoyed by. I'm not talking about the people that have your number that you don't talk to. I'm just talking about like real people.
Right.
Go ahead.
Sometimes you just like, okay, so when it comes to me, sometimes I'm just in that zone. Like, I'll see the text come through. Sometimes I could be in the next room and I hear it and I'm like, all right, when I'm finished doing what I'm going to do, I'm going to get back to that text. But when I'm finished what I'm doing, I done forgot that shit rang. So I don't even look at the phone. There are times where, again, you know, I do this, I do that, and I work from home. So when I'm taking calls, I turn the phone off. And, you know, that's got me into trouble with my other job because, again, they're calling me. And because I'm not answering, I'll pick up my phone 3-4 hours later. It's like, yo, we can't get you. And I'm like, well, I wasn't on the clock today. I wasn't
right. If I'm not right, I agree.
So why are you upset with me that I didn't answer the phone?
I don't owe you my free time.
But then there are times where, I picked up the phone and was like, okay. Why are you looking for me? And then I'll put it down and I think I'll go through this whole mental thing. Well, what could it possibly be? And then I'm like, all right, well.
So you drive yourself crazy a little bit.
Yeah, so there's a whole big mental mind thing with the whole phone thing. But then again, there's just sometimes where, and this happens to me a lot too. You know, somebody will think that I'm purposely avoiding the call.
Yes.
And now there's a big argument. Now there's shade. And then I'll be like, well, fuck it. Then I ain't going to whatever, you know, and then that turns into not so good.
It does. It becomes, it's a real thing. So when I was in Dallas this past weekend, and again, like I talk through things because I be ready to go the fuck off. Snap. I do in text message. So instead of me going off in text message and not being able to think about what I typed, I'll say it to my friend. And so I had text my friend, like, hey, making sure you're good. Just let me know, are you safe? Are you home? Or whatever. So find out like they're out and about. Cool. Okay. Let me know. Like you're a little nice, little tipsy. Like, let me know when you make it back to your hotel or wherever you're going. Crickets. Okay, cool. So at this point, I'm annoyed, right? Like this is the second time I feel like you've done this. Like I made it very clear the first time. Don't you ever.
Right.
Ignore my text messages. I don't give a fuck what you got going on.
At least a smiley face. You can
listen, like if you're busy, I'm not and I'm not the woman, Snap, that blows anyone's phone up. I don't call you. I'm not blowing your phone up. Like you're never going to see more than 2 missed calls from me right back to back, right? Because in my mind it's like, okay, first time, cool, maybe you didn't see it. Second time, yeah, you're ignoring me or you're busy. But I don't blow up text messages. I don't blow up phone call. I don't do any of that. Right? So if you're busy and I ask you a question about like your well-being, like legitimately, are you good?
Right.
All you got to say is yes.
Right.
Just one message. Because I won't even reply back to you after that. Like, because the only intent that I had was to make sure you're good. So at this point, I'm annoyed, Snap, because I had addressed this before, right? So this person I had checked in. I was like, oh, let me make sure this person's good. I just, like it was in my spirit. I was like, let me make sure they're okay. Like, are you good? Crickets. So I'm coming into work the next morning. And I'll connect the dots to Dallas. I come into work the next morning, still didn't hear back from this person, right? So you mean to tell me your ass didn't check your phone in the morning time? I find that very hard to believe. So I text you, and then you tell me you turned your phone off. So that means you actually read my text message and chose not to respond. Oh, okay, cool. Don't hit me up. Like I'm not don't hit me up, right? Okay, so now to Dallas. So now, after they got through whatever they got through because it was a busy, work was busy, stress, whatever. Cool, that's fine. Snap, I consider myself to be very patient and understanding until you fuck with me and you start ignoring me. Like I have a low tolerance for because I'll ignore the shit out of you too and your feelings will be hurt. So when they got to wherever they got to, they did what they needed to do. They were like, oh, did that. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Next message was, so I acknowledge that you did what you needed to do. Next message was, don't you ever ignore my text messages again. Okay. You respond, you acknowledge, nope, I'm not. Okay, great. So in Dallas, asking the same question. They're not in Dallas with me, but like I know that they're out and about too. You still chose not to respond to my message. So I call, right? The day that I'm supposed to be flying out, I know they're flying out too. I call. They answer the phone all cheery, chummy, all this other stuff, and I'm still annoyed. And my friend's in the car like, bring it down. Like she's doing the motions like, bring it down. Like, because my voice just escalated real quick. He was like, what's wrong? I was like, because I'm annoyed.
Right.
I'm annoyed. I'm fucking annoyed. I said, you know what? That's fine. You know what? All that matters is that you're good, blah, blah, blah. Cool. I send a text message like, listen, like your well-being is important to me. I'm not trying to nag you. Right. I said, but if you don't want me checking on your well-being, oh, trust me, I could delete that from the things that happen in my day snap, right? So anywho, have you ever blatantly ignored text messages with like responses like that, like from your girl or somebody that you're cool with, like a significant other?
Okay, so there are times. Well, it gets annoying.
What gets annoying?
If what's annoying is, I think more so if you got something going on and it's seen as a distraction.
I see. So you're saying like if you are in the middle of something and they know you're in the middle of something? No.
Even if they don't know I'm in the middle of something, I could just be watching TV, focus on something or listening to something or hearing something, and then it comes through and, you know. So I've gotten in trouble with my girl sometimes because what'll happen is I'm doing something and she'll send a text. And before I could respond to the text, she's already walking in the front door. And then the first thing is, yo, you didn't get my text?
Oh, yeah. And we come guns blazing.
So now I'm on the defensive already. So
right.
Now and as to just saying, or call. If I didn't get the text, call. And call again. You my woman. You could call me 58 times in a row. Eventually, I got to pick the phone up, right? I mean, again, sometimes if I'm doing something, I don't hear it. And I don't take phone calls like that. That's not me. I'm not a get on the phone and we just go and chit chat. Like me and my girl, we have the best conversations when we talking about other people. like literally we could be on the phone for hours, like just talking. But when it comes to just chit chatting about us, it's like, nah, I'll see you when you get home. Like, why are we on the phone this long or something like that, or sending texts like that? It's like, call me real quick, kick it, and then I like, you know, kind of stuff like that. But yeah, so have ignored calls. Sometimes it's on purpose. Sometimes it's by default.
What's the default part?
Again, I didn't hear it. The phone is on silent. It's on vibrate. So
well, then you can't. But then that's not ignoring, right? Because you didn't know.
Right. But I'm saying, like, there are times where if I get a phone call and I'd be like, oh, that's. I'm put it right back down.
I can't.
Like,
have you ever ignored my phone call, Snap?
Absolutely not. There's no reason to ignore your phone calls.
Right. But I don't blow you up either. Like if I'm calling you, like it's calling, like right. It's literally.
And it's some shit. It's
right.
Like, yo,
exactly.
Yeah,
I'm like, yo, Snap, I gotta talk through this with you.
Bam.
Right.
But it's when you just the chit chatting and just the gossiping. Like, come on, man, that's not what I do. So I try to stay off the phones. Like, I think that the cell phone was one of the best and worst creations in the world because it is convenient. But the amount of idiots you see just the talking and texting and driving and all these accidents nowadays, like, I try and stay off the phone. Like, I don't really like to be on the phone. I'd rather kick it to you in person because on the phone, you know how many times I was like, yeah, girl, yeah.
You're like, you're like, I hate this shit. I hate this shit. I mean?
Like, there have been times, and this goes even back to like my mom. Sometimes moms would call me from work on some fired up shit, like there's some shit that I should have did and it didn't get done. And of course, excuse me, because she worked like either overnights or 4 to 12 kind of shit, she would call me first thing in the morning and she's just yelling. And like, I want to hear it, but I'm like, so I would put the phone down, and I think this is when it started. Like, I would put the phone down, and like literally, I would hear her just yell. I'm laying down to where I'm still sleeping. I could hear her through this ear, and then she always was good for after she said what she had to say, and like mother effed me to whatever, blah blah blah. She would just hang up. So for the most part, I knew once she hung up, all right, now I can hang up. And I think like I've carried that in life, a lot of that.
So that's like, where it started with your phone.
A lot. Like,
oh gosh,
I don't do that. I don't do phones.
Yeah, no, I know. Parents have a bad habit of waking us up, and I would just hold the phone away from my ear, and I'm just like, Yeah. That's not an effective way to communicate. But I mean, I get it. I mean, text messages have definitely riled people up to believe that you have to get this instantaneous response, right? Like, so we're kind of spoiled in that sense. The last piece of the text message etiquette, and we can come back to, because I feel like you wanted to say something.
No, I'm good.
When people try to decipher text messages, right? Text messages are just what they are. They're supposed to be short, quick responses in case you can't talk on the phone. But it started becoming a thing where people are like, okay, so what do you think this means? Or I know if I'm upset or I'm annoyed, you get short responses from me. So if you give me this whole paragraph response Snap, and I'm annoyed, or you just irritated the shit out of me, I'm gonna be like, okay. Right? And so in your mind, like, you want them to respond like similarly to you. I'm like, nah, you're either getting a one-word response or you're not getting much of a response. Because if there's no question in there, right? Quotation marks. If there's no question for me to respond to, then I can easily say, well, there was nothing that warranted a response in your text message. People play that card all the fucking time.
Right. And again, that's why I try not to do text. And then sometimes I'll catch myself like homie called me the other day and said, yo, I'm going through some stuff right now. I just lost another homie and I don't feel right. And so now instead of me calling him, I found myself Instagramming. The message was so long, it was like I had to pull back some lettering for me to send more text, like
versus you just picking up the phone and calling him
and just calling, right? And literally, like, I did 2 screens worth of IG information on a text. When again, but the reason why I try not to do text is because you could read something, and just like you say, you're reading into it, and it's totally not what it is.
Oh,
I could just be saying something.
I know.
But because I read it that way, I'm in my feelings. Like, I'm like, oh, I read it this way, but no. Like, and that's happened to me too. Like, well, you didn't have to say it like this, and I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Well, when you wrote right here,
right?
And I'm like,
but that word, and they're just like, wait. So you're absolutely right. I have definitely, text messages, I have misconstrued tones. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I used to say you can't read tones in text messages. Mm-mm. And so I'm actually doing my best to be mindful of the things that I even type in text messages. Like, I speak very matter-of-factly. Let me just tell you straight up what it is.
That is so funny when we talk about text, too, because one time, not knowing, I yelled at a supervisor through text. And it was because, again...
Did you have all caps or something?
I had all caps, right. And so I didn't understand that was supposedly text yelling.
I know. That's emails as well. They claim that's emails too.
It was a whole big deal. Like, so I'm like, well, why couldn't you just call me and we talk and blah, blah, blah. It just so happens that the arrow hit my and I just whatever. I just kept everything.
It was your quickest way of just typing it out. My friend used to type in all caps, but he was like, by the way, I'm not yelling. And I never took all caps as yelling, though. Yeah. But we have been socialized to believe like that is a form of yelling in freaking text messages. I'm like, okay, this is stupid. Okay. So I know I got a lot to work on when it comes to deciphering text messages, but I just feel like there's some etiquettes, like don't you ever fucking ignore my text messages.
Man, just an emoji. Like,
don't you ever.
We make it so easy now to reply. You don't even have
That's
to
what I'm
text
saying.
anything.
I know. iPhones even got to the point where, and I'm not always a fan of this, where you could check. You could thumbs up, thumbs down. You could heart a text message.
That's what I'm saying. And the more emojis you use, when you open up your thing, it'll automatically kind of pop up to say, when you want to send this right here, because all you got to do is just send, again, the thumbs up or the little eyes, like, oh, I see you. Or
like you understand, like, oh my gosh, like, exclamation points, all that. Right. So technology has definitely made us lazy, but it has also put us, that's given us a lot of anxiety over, oh my gosh, they didn't respond, they don't like me, oh my gosh, they didn't respond, they're cheating on me, or they're messing with somebody, or they're somewhere they don't need to be. And it's kind of like, nah, I was asleep.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I silence my phone a lot because, for instance, like, we're recording this on a Monday. I'm exhausted from flying in. I got in late. So when I get back to my apartment, Snap, I want to take a nap. And depending on who you are, and if I feel like you're going to have a long-ass conversation with me, I'm going to silence my phone, and I'm going to call you when I wake up and I feel fully coherent.
There you go. So you're trying to be respectful.
I am.
But if I need you at that time, now that's being to me. And
then
so
I've been in that situation. You better send a text message and tell me something. You got to let me know.
Yeah, see?
Because if you want to have a casual conversation while I'm running on fumes, like, that's not going to work for me.
Right.
So, anywho, text message etiquette. Woo, Lord. Snap, how can they find you online? And us online. I'm going to test you this time.
Online. Online at IG, ROB_OSnap. On Twitter, ROB, capital OSNAP. And, of course, we are on Spotify, Black Nuance Pod. We on podcast, Black Nuance Pod. And
he said all these things wrong. Powered by Excitement Radio. We're on Spotify as Black and Nuance Pod.
Damn.
with the +. But Twitter and Instagram is Black Nuanced Pod.
I be on some bullshit.
No, it's okay. But we are on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, your favorite podcast app. And so you can find me on Twitter under my first name, Georgette. Instagram, Georgette Star with 2 R's. People are still following me under my full one, Georgette Pierre.
Georgette P?
And no, I'm not Haitian. My family's from Trinidad and Tobago because everyone hears Pierre. They're like, oh my gosh, are you Haitian? And they...
Nah, I'm France. I'm from France.
Well, depending on who you're talking to. So my Lyft driver was like, oh, you have a French name. He was like, yes, so he thought I was... So depending on who you're talking to, I'm either Haitian or I'm French. Right. So, yeah, so follow me under Georgette Star with 2 R's. Yeah, hit us up, SoundCloud. Leave comments, review us on Apple Podcasts. So we out of here. Peace.
Yeah, girl.